Bandwidth for all shows on the Aussie Tech Heads network is supplied by Aussie Tech Heads web hosting. For a fast, affordable and reliable Australian server with fantastic support, contact Aussie Tech Heads web hosting at aussietechheads.com.au. Aussie Tech Heads, Australia's best hosting service.
Hey, episode 361, Aussie Tech Heads, the 3rd of October, 2013, actually, 2013. And big thanks to Will and Shane for standing in for me last week. I was out on me back flat. I was, had a, I don't know, cold or something, you know. I had the man flu and, put me on me back. So, still a little bit of a sniffle, as you could probably hear. But anyway, lot better and be up and at 'em, ready for another show this week. So welcome back me. And also tonight we just got Will. Hey, Will, how you doing?
How do? 2 weeks in a row. This is like a special treat.
It is, isn't it? I've lost my mouse. I can't switch to you. It's around here somewhere.
Yeah. Now you've done it.
Now I have. Maybe everyone's just going to have to look at me all night now.
Make it stop.
Hang on, what's going on? Must be.
Unless, of course, you're watching the stream, in which case I can switch video and you can look at, like, laughing dogs or something.
There we go. I found it. All right. it was way over there on the 5th screen. So how you doing, Will? Good?
Yeah, not too bad. It's another hot day today.
Yeah, so I was watching the stream last week, actually, like when I was laid up, I was actually watching you guys, and you did a very good job. And it was a hot day. You looked like you were really in the sauna last week.
Well, the problem, and you would know this problem, and anybody who's into serious audio will know this, that you can't have a fan or an air conditioning in the room that's close enough to you to be effective because the microphones pick it up.
Mm.
So I had the fan on, but it was that far away that it was like, but see, the air was hot by the time it was getting to me.
But that's when you get yourself maybe a manual, a physical mixer, Will, and you get the gain and you turn the gain down.
No, it's just wind is one of those sounds that penetrates the
and
microphone.
By Jove, there's a lot of wind up there.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of wind.
All right, so tonight's episode is brought to you by Aussie Tech Heads Web Hosting, adhwebhosting.com.au. Go and check them out for some great plans, fast Aussie servers. From $5.95 per month, get you started, but average price is, I suppose, the most popular one is $6.95 per month. Get you started for sure. And we've got quite a few plans going on, so thanks to everyone that's trusted the Aussie Tech Heads web hosting. You also might have heard about the Aussie Tech Radio, aussietechradio.com. It's a 24/7 shoutcast stream, heaps of shows on there, techwebcast.info. Another great little show that we rebroadcast before our live show on Thursday nights, and they've got a guest every week, new guest every week. Very, very interesting show, so get in there. They get themselves in the news every now and then. They talk to Foxtel and they get scoops and all this sort of stuff, so they're going good. Heaps of other shows as well, so join in aussietechradio.com. New shows up every Friday. All right, now I think let's look. I don't know, Shane's in overseas. I think he left today, so he's happy holiday, Shane. He's off to the US of A. So
he'll be a roving reporter for the next few weeks.
Yeah, if he gets enough bandwidth to come on in, to dial in. So, hopefully we'll hear from him. Yeah, hopefully. And Warlock should be back next week. His little 2 weeks holiday should be finished soon, so he should be back next week.
Always, and I can't blame him. He takes a preference to look after his daughter and prefers to spend time with her, which is
that's right,
fantastic.
Exactly, fantastic stuff. Good to see. Good to see. All right, now let's move on to some discussions. We got no chronological whatever it is of tech this week.
Because we can't say it.
That's right, we can't say it, so we dropped it.
That's right.
So we'll move on. Look, now here's an interesting story that I the first one. We'll do this as the first one because this was very interesting. Website maps 1.2 billion Facebook faces. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. A new project, the Faces of Facebook. Now, if you want to get yourself into, oh, my vidmaster's frozen again. Anyway, if you want to have a look at this, get yourself onto the show notes. There'll be links there. It's I can't read that. app.thefaceoffbook.com. Oh, the faces of. Oh, go to the show notes. It's easier.
Yeah, the faces of Facebook.com.
Something like that. Yeah. So.
Well, the face off Facebook.
The face off Facebook. Yeah.
The face off Facebook. Yeah.
Now, look, I didn't load up the pictures. Look, remiss of me because I had a little blue screen of death before tonight's show, and I had to reboot. For something different. Now, should I be so bold? No, see, my vidblaster's bloody carked.
It's interesting. I'll say that much. I've just loaded it up, and when you zoom right out, it's just a giant. Like in the old days, you used to get static. It's just a giant static screen with a whole heap of just nothing, and then as you zoom in, you get pixels, and then you zoom a bit further, and you start to get faces, and it's interesting. So far, they've mapped 1.242 million.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a few. Look, I don't know, Will, can you throw a graphic up there? Because I can't.
I can, if you give me 2 seconds. I wasn't prepared for this, but I can do it.
I know, I've got the graphics here, but my vidblaster has failed once again. A new computer is on its way, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So hopefully that's what the problem is. So I'm being told now that my volume is a little bit low. No, I'm good here. I'm good here. I should be.
Yeah. It's just a stream. That's okay. It's my end. I can.
All right.
No, I can't show you because I can show the stream. If you're watching on the stream, you'll see it. But I have no way of showing you because I'm not set up for that.
All right. Well. Okay. Well, look, I'm just going to give it a little shot here. A quick little turn. Oh, there we go. Hopefully that video didn't break up then. I'm just going to try and do a live ad of a vidblaster module. Let's see how this goes, eh? Because
it should be fine.
I went to the trouble of getting all my images together. So, I've got to get them going.
Might as well use them.
For those numerous people that do watch and download the video, well, they want the thingos, don't they? Now, where did that go? Oh, geez, I tell you. And task, hang on, here we go. We'll try again. Open. Open. Here we go. We might be onto something here. Because I searched my own face on this thing. And I found it. Can you believe?
Oh, you can search. Okay.
Okay, here we come. It's coming up. Give us a couple of seconds for it.
How do you search?
Here it is. There we go. There we go. Now, you can see me right up there. So this is actually a timeline. Okay? So from left to right, it's a timeline of when you joined Facebook. And I am right up there. I can't see what number am I? I can't see that number on my little...
846,972,195.
No, I'm less than that.
That's what it says.
Is it?
Yep.
Under my name?
Yep.
Huh. I thought it was only 40 million something. But anyway, yeah, so the faces of Facebook. That story got hijacked by technical hitches, didn't it? So it goes in chronological order of when you joined. So you can see when you joined, when your friends joined, and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? Now, this I think it's a girl, Rojaz. The creator said she's not breaking Facebook privacy rules because she's not storing anyone's name, photo, or private information, just linking out to public Facebook profiles. She also said she hasn't heard anything from Facebook. She says, which she thinks is good news because she was worried a bit about things like using the name in the URL. Maybe we shouldn't have went to that graphic because now I can't come back from it.
Oh, dear.
Let's do a Control-Alt-Delete. For some reason, vidblaster likes it when I do that. Oh, there we go. just freeze something up. God knows what, but freeze something up, eh? Anyway,
I'm just going across. I'm just curious to see who face number one is.
probably, yeah, who would that be?
I don't know. Tell you for the loads.
All right. Well, while Will's looking at that, so that's a good one. So sorry that story was a bit drawn out, but anyway, someone's put up the public pictures of 1.2 billion faces of Facebook. So go and have a look for yours. You can search. There is a search in there. I think you got to sign in with Facebook or something, and once you sign in, then it tells you where you are of the 1.2 billion. So it's not too bad. All right. Now, next story, Microsoft. Let's go. Microsoft. Here's an interesting one. Now, there's this little band of investors, and they're trying to get rid of Bill Gates, trying to get him to step down as what is he? He's a member of the board.
Yep.
Because, as you know, Steve Ballmer's leaving, and there's this group of 3 investors, apparently, the major investors. Now, get this, the major investors only make up 5% of the entire investors. So there's a lot of mums and dads out there by the looks of it, mums and dad investors. So 3 of the top 20 investors in Microsoft are lobbying the board to get Bill Gates to step down as chairman. As we know, Gates co-founded the company 38 years ago. Steve Ballmer's been under pressure for years to improve the company's performance and share price. So he hasn't done really too much, has he?
But hang on, how's that going to work? Because there's 3 investors who collectively own 5%. Bill Gates owns 5%, and he's one.
That's exactly right.
Really, his voice is stronger than their 3.
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's only so they're collectively they're 5%. But you've got another. So with then what's his name? Bill. He's 5. So that's 10%. So you got 90% of the. I'm sure 90% of the other people are quite happy for Bill to stay. He's the figurehead, isn't he? He's like Steve Jobs and Apple.
Yeah, he's the co-founder. So
that's right.
But it's funny. He used to own, 49% of Microsoft before it went public in 1986. But he sells about 80 million shares per year under a preset plan, which, if continued, will leave him with no financial stake by 2018. So. All they've got to do is wait. They don't have to kick him out. They've only got to wait another 5 years anyway.
Well, I'm sure he's not going to let his funds run dry. So that is an interesting stat, though. So because he's not leaving any of his fortune to his kids either, is he? I think he might have left them 10 mil each or something, but he's not given them
most of his money goes back to his philanthropy.
And
concerns.
he's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who are quite involved in trying to get rid of polio, and I think them and the Rotary, I think they got the same.
That's his side of the story, anyway. Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, so good on him. I don't think he'll step down. I think he's got, I think these little group of investors, they're just scared that, because he's probably an aging type, he's an aging human, that his thoughts are probably in the past. There's no more visions there. But I think, I really think that Bond was probably the person to lay most of the blame at his door, because that Surface RT, I can't believe they're still bringing the second version of that out. I really, really can't. They lost 1 billion on that, 900 million, and
before they pulled the pin on it. So who knows how much they would have lost? Yeah,
but now they're doing version 2. So what gives there? I really don't get that. But anyway, that's what's happening there. And I did have another Microsoft story, but I'm scared to scroll.
Yeah, no, there's another Microsoft story I was just reading about. Well, it depends if you believe the headline or not, but according to the headline, it says, dodgy Microsoft pirate slapped with 800,000 in fine. Now, Software Paul was recently ordered to pay $5,000 in compensatory damages plus 300,000 additional damages for what the software vendor said, i.e. Microsoft, due to the flagrancy of his repeated infringements of Microsoft software copyright. Now, Software Paul had turned off all updates on all 4 copies of Windows in an effect to avoid detection. That's written really badly because what it means is 4 versions of Windows, not 4 copies of Windows, because he's actually previously had 1400 or nearly 1,500 counterfeit discs seized by the Victorian Police.
Yeah, that's going to catch up with you. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, he was selling out of the markets or something, counterfeit windows, but like, let's assume that he managed to sell all. What did he have? He had 800 and 1,500, so 2,300. So let's assume he managed to sell all 2,300 copies of Windows. He's already been forced to pay 70 grand, and now he's been forced for another 300, so 400 odd thousand. So the headline's wrong. It says 800,000. I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah, no, I think that what the headline was for is it's not just for Software Paul. It's for the whole lot of them. There's been a few. There's been a few convictions of late, and I think he was one of the higher ones with 300,000. He had to pay. There's another guy I think had to pay. There's one 30,000, but it doesn't matter. These discs, Software Paul had turned off updates on all 4 copies of Windows in an effort to avoid detection. Some of the software was also infected with malware, so that's why you don't put bloody dodgy stuff into your machine, because that's probably why you keep getting problems.
Yeah, that's why you don't put Windows on your computer, because
you keep getting problems. That's right.
Because Microsoft's involved.
Yeah. But anyway,
if you turn off updates, it's probably better.
Now, look, I had a graphic to go with our thing of Bill Gates just before. I'll put that up again because I've gone to the trouble to get these photos, so I might as well. I've got to put them up. So now, cast your mind back to they want to get rid of him, and I found this one of Bill get stuffed.
I thought you were going to do the whole pie in the face thing.
Oh no, I got him given the forks. Well, use your imagination a bit.
That's it.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's another Microsoft story I think in there swimming around there. Will, what was that one?
Yeah, there's one about another really catchy headline. Microsoft apps now support 81 Windows devices, Windows 8.1 devices. So basically, the devices that can share the apps have gone from 5 to 81. The users can roam with their apps, use them across multiple devices. So basically, it means you can install an app on mobile Windows, on Windows 8.1, on Windows, whatever it's embedded on. So it allows you to share the data and the program across different apps. Now, this was their thinking. When did that come out? Like 6 months ago or thereabouts, or probably more. It'd been nearly 12 months ago now when that came out.
Yes.
And that was their thinking right from the start. And so 12 months later, they've managed to go from 5 to 81 devices.
But that's good. Is that good or not?
Well,
good for the consumer if they've got 6 devices.
Yeah, but there's no point having 81 devices if you're not selling them. It's like BlackBerry could bring out 200 models and that wouldn't help them, because there's just there's no one buying it. I mean, Nokia uses it, and this is where most of these came from. The partnership agreement they had with Nokia, where they basically took all the all the Nokia phones, took the Symbian OS off them and put Windows on them.
But this is obviously not aimed at the home user. Is this like aimed at a business? So they download the app once and then...
No. It's aimed at the home users. The idea is you can take your Windows, what we're talking about before with the, bringing out version 2 and all that, and between that and your Windows tablets and your computer and these mobile devices. For example, if you're watching a movie at home on your computer or your media center, and then you stop that halfway through and you go to the airport and you sit at the airport, you hook up the Wi-Fi on your phone, you can watch that movie from where you took off and things like that. So it's definitely aimed at the mum and dad side of it. The problem is no mum and dads own these devices.
But Apple's a 10, is that right? Or Apple 5 or 10? Might be 10, I think.
What?
Devices off the one Apple ID.
Yeah, no, this isn't talking about the Apple ID. This is talking about the devices that are capable of actually running that sharing style program.
So it's in like you download the app once and then you can share it with the other 81 devices.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not saying how many licenses you can share for that app. It's just saying there's 81 devices available that can do it. Much like the Android marketplace is the same in some respects. Of they can do that. Like you can have, especially if you've got a Samsung, every Samsung device can effectively become another device with, TVs and tablets and phones. You can share them across anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's unlimited, basically.
Well, anyway, this is starting October 9. Windows Store apps will be able to roam across 81 devices. As Will said, likely more... Yeah, more... Oh, okay. Likely more of a nod to the arrival of Windows 8.1. Well, that's stupid, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Developers will also be allowed to set the roaming limit to a number of devices. Developers that can decide to have the app enforce a constant amount or constrain the numbers as well. So developers have a bit of control over that. Yeah, but 81, no, how many devices are we going to have? Well, we've got 8.1 coming out. That's a good number.
Exactly.
Oh, good.
Wonder where they come up with the idea.
Yeah, that's a bomber idea, I reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah. Someone throw a penis at that guy. Now, I've just tried to get my show notes up on my mobile. Oh, here we go. It's finally loaded. I couldn't find it.
High quality Apple product that you've got.
Yeah. Well, see, every time I switch away from VidBlaster, the damn thing just wants to crash. So I'm not switching away. It's so bad. It was going.
Speaking of high quality Apple devices, I've got a couple of Android stories because that's what I do if you like Apple, well, tough.
We found that out last week. we thought you might have liked Android, Will.
Hey, it's the chat room's fault. They're all telling me to do it, so I did. So I blame everybody in chat.
All right. Well, bring us up to date with Android this week. What's happening?
Okay, so a couple of things. Follow up to a story we had last week about the Android watches. In particular, the Samsung one that's coming out. Sony's kind of beat them to the punch in some respects. I have bought out the Sony smartwatch, which you can get at Kogan for $149. Now, it's compatible. It doesn't really run Android in the true sense. It runs kind of a very bare bones operating system that'll let you handle calls, do MMSs, SMSs, emails, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, music, calendar, and slideshow. That's about all it'll actually do on its own. But what you can do is you hook it up with any Android phone with running Ice Cream Sandwich or version 4 or better, and particularly anything that uses the NFC, the near field communications.
Oh, yeah.
Because it will chat via that rather than wasting battery power on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. But you can do things like you can use it as a remote control for your camera. So you can have your camera mounted somewhere, and you can log into it with your watch and watch what's going on with the camera, for example.
Yeah, okay.
It's got a battery life of 3 to 4 days of normal use, with it always on, charges via USB, has a 1.6-inch screen, which is apparently very clear to read outside. It's not like a normal screen that you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it's...
You getting one?
Well, I think I prefer to wait for the actual Android phone just because I've had... It might have even been the version 1 of this. I don't know if it was the version 1 of this one or a Chinese version of it that basically did everything this one does. And if you don't have your phone on you within range of the watch, it's pretty much useless.
Yeah,
you can't. Right. It doesn't support Wi-Fi on its own. It doesn't support 3G on its own. It doesn't support any of that. It all requires the phone. So if you've left your phone in the car and you walk inside, well, the only thing you can do is check the time. So
sweet.
I think, don't get me wrong, it'll be neat, especially if you're in a meeting or something and you're not supposed to have your phone. You can still check your messages and stuff. But I think if you want true functionality, you really need to wait to get the actual Android phone.
Yeah, right. And yeah, that's all right. I actually saw that ad from Kogan come through, and I went, oh yeah, I thought you'd be all over that one, Will. What else? Did you have another little Android story there?
Yeah, Android tablets are now officially outselling iPads.
Officially.
Recent figures released says that Android has taken the highest selling tablet. Now, they're not saying Android operating system. I'll read the story now. It's not quite as good as it sounds. Being selective with numbers can make your products look good. Now, according to this iPad, the selling price of Android tablets rose by 17%, and iPad prices dropped by 17%. But the 7.9-inch iPad mini accounted for 60% of all iPad sales. I wish they would say, the problem I have with this is they don't really do a breakdown in the versions of Android. Like, they're not saying specifically what tablet they.
But I suppose, like it's just logical that Android is going to sell more because there's so many devices.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's kind of a little bit creative in the marketing side of it, because I mean, there's 200,000 Android devices or 150,000 Android devices or something activated every hour. So, it's bound to definitely outsell. But tablets have traditionally been relatively slow moving. You've either had like your Samsungs or HTC's tablets that have really been, in terms of retail shops, floor space in a retail shop, they've sort of been really the only competitor to the iPad, and everyone sees an iPad, they see these, they go for the iPad. It's only recently that the Chinese tablets have sort of caught up, and because a lot of people bought a $50 Chinese tablet, they were really upset by it, so they didn't like the Android experience. But now that Android 4's come out and it's very similar across even the cheap Chinese tablets, the experience is very similar. Android's starting to become more popular again because you can jump from one device to the other and it's the same. And a $50 tablet may not be as fast and may not have as much memory, but at the end of the day, will probably do the same thing as a $500 tablet. So the market, I guess, user base is expanding.
Have you still got your Pendo?
Yeah, I actually still have the Pendo pad, believe it or not.
There, right.
It sits in my room. It's basically a glorified photo frame that we stream. That just streams what's it called? Online radio. It just streams that all the time.
Yeah, right.
And does YouTube videos and stuff. That's pretty much. But I mean, that's an example of a $50 Chinese tablet. At the time, it was not a bad buy. When it came out, it was not bad. Now it's completely outdated, but it still plays a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Still plays Angry Birds. The battery life's still all day. This thing's 4-year-old now, and I still got a full day's battery use out of it.
Can you root them?
Yeah, a lot of them you can.
But you've got to have because I know we bought a cheap one from Domain. I think it was a Alcatel or something.
Yep.
And but it's just getting slower and slower and slower. It's one of the kids just just go through the Play Store. They download whatever they want to. It's just what's the best way to clean that up? Like,
just do a factory reset to start with. Just try that.
Yeah. Well, will that bring it? What will that do? Will that bring it back to
the way it was when you bought it?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, easy. How do you do that?
Just go into your settings.
Yes.
Go into your settings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can
scroll down once you're in your settings screen, just scroll right down to the bottom.
Yep.
It should have, it's either in About Device.
Yeah.
Right down the bottom, or it'll be in Security.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. All right. I'm gonna try that because it's just getting really, really slow. And I did put an antivirus on it, and and I'm trying to kill all these apps, but they've downloaded a lot of crap that just.
I mean, even on this phone, which is the Note 2, even on this thing, I do a factory reset probably once every 3 months. I don't need to, but I find it just because I'm the same. I'll install a heap of apps and then never use them again. So, other than a handful of apps I use regularly, I pretty much every 3 months do a factory reset and go again.
Now, what about
clean things out?
What about now? They play Minecraft PE on it. Now, a factory reset's going to get rid of their game data.
It should get rid of shouldn't get rid of the game data because that should be stored on the storage part of the drive. I mean, always back the device up first, but the storage part of the drive shouldn't be affected. It should only be the program part of the drive.
Right. Oh, I'm just going to reset it. I'll ask him. Well, how am I going to back Minecraft up? Is it just like
back up everything on the device? Just drag and drop basically, because you'll have two. You'll have the internal memory and you'll have the SD card effectively, or the external memory.
Yep.
So the app itself will have installed on the internal memory, but it should be storing all its data on the external memory.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, go into the settings and you can depict what you want stored where, can't you?
On some apps you can, some apps you can't change. There's some applications that you can store specifically on the external drive, so whether it's the SD card or whatever. If they're not a widget, like something that's on your background, if it's just an app, 90% of the time you can actually store the entire app on your external memory, unless it's a widget, in which case it has to be installed. That's actually an interesting point. Keep an eye on your app size, because there's an app I used to use, and when I first put it on, it was about 12 meg. And the other day, I got a low
memory thingy.
Yeah, a low storage warning saying that I'm running out of data. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I checked. I hadn't done any videos or photos recently. I'm like, why should that have changed?
Yeah.
And all that had happened was this app had updated. And I went and had a look, and this app went from the 15 meg or whatever it was when I first put it on to 1.5 gig.
Oh, lovely.
In the most recent update.
Hey, right. Wow,
I went, no. Bye.
Yeah, I reckon. Jeez,
I don't need a 1.5 gig app.
No. All right. Well, that's Will's little Android segment. Oh, no. I've got to move on, and now my iPhone don't connect to my notes.
Yeah. So
I'm only tricking.
While you're trying to do that, just quickly, the Telstra is set to launch the Galaxy Note 3 and the Sony Xperia Z1 on October 15th. The Galaxy Note 3 is obviously, the next one up from what I've got now. And the pricing on that's basically going to be the Galaxy Note 3 on the $80 Everyday Connect plan with an $8 handset repayment. So $88 a month. For the base package.
Oh, yeah.
Get you that. And then, of course, you've got it. I mean, to look at, it actually looks the same, but I believe the screen's a little bit bigger, but the actual phone isn't. They've narrowed the bezel and made the screen a bit bigger.
Right.
Slightly more powerful processor, things like that. The, what's it called? The Z1 will be comparable in specs. I think the screen's a bit smaller, but the processor specs and everything are pretty similar to the S4 and the HTC One. And the pricing's about the same too, which will basically be around $9 a month on a $60 plan. So as much as I don't like Telstra, I can't stand Telstra, but you want the coverage, you want the speed, you have to use them.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I don't love the price, but
that's the problem. They're expensive,
service.
But they bring out the phones when they come out. So the phones are pretty much a new phone. They're not something that's been out for 6 months before they get it.
Yeah.
And they are expensive, but they're good in terms of coverage and speed. So I need it for work. If I had a choice, I wouldn't be doing it, but what do you do?
Now, talking about viruses, Microsoft Essentials. Apparently, now this is surprising to me because I was I champion Microsoft Security Essentials, and I thought, good on them. Microsoft has admitted Windows users should install antivirus above and beyond Security Essentials. Now, this is probably more, predominantly, you could say, aimed at Windows 7 and below, because you have to install an antivirus. Windows 8 comes with Essentials included.
Well, so does Windows 7 Service Pack 1.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. I've always installed it. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay, I believe you. I believe you. So they've described, describing it as merely a baseline that will always be on the bottom of antivirus software rankings. Microsoft has said It sees Security Essentials as merely the first layer of protection, advising customers to use additional third-party antivirus. Now, question comes to mind is that, whenever you go, you change antivirus software or whenever you go to install it, the first thing you do is you uninstall anything else that's running because otherwise you're going to get conflicts. So are they saying that it's okay to leave the Security Essentials running, but you've got to go and install something else?
I've always, and how long have I been saying this? Do not trust Security Essentials. I've been saying this for months, years since it started coming out, and everybody told me that I didn't know what I was talking about.
I've never had a problem. Oh, well.
But, yeah, exactly. I've always installed either AVG or Advanced, and it quite happily coexists with Essentials.
Yeah, look, I only run Essentials. Well, I'm on Windows 8. I'm on Windows 7 at the moment. I've got Essentials running, and I've also got a Malwarebytes real-time protection running. And look, that's done me good. I'm going to go and have to reevaluate my stance on this now after this, and I should have just trusted Will to start with, shouldn't I? But anyway, baseline does not equal bad.
Hey, if Steve Gibson said don't trust it, you mustn't be able to trust it.
Oh, did he say that? Did he?
Yeah, back when it first came out, he said it's that entry level that you may not even, you're better off just not worrying about it.
Oh dear, oh dear. All right, well, if Steve says it, I'm out. It's off tonight. Now, we provide a high-quality, high-performing service to our customers, and if they choose not to buy antivirus on Windows 8, we want to get those people protected. So, okay then.
Who buys antivirus?
Well, people do.
Companies do. People do, but they shouldn't because they get roped into buying Norton and there's other crap programs that pass themselves as security scanners.
Yeah, but I think with what happens with the security, with the antivirus, is that it's you get your base model for free, but if you want like more real-time protection with web pages that you visit and stuff that may be coming through real time, isn't that when you decide you might want to pay more?
AVG does that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Avast does that.
Well,
Panda does that.
Well, what's the benefits of purchasing AVG?
You do get other things, like you get advanced firewalls, you get a lot of this stuff, but a lot of that stuff the average person doesn't need. And if you do want to put a separate firewall on there, you just put a free version of a firewall protection on there. They don't make their money really off residential purchases, or at least companies like AVG and Advanced don't. They make their money from commercial businesses. They protect multi-billion-dollar commercial premises. That's where they make their money. That's why they hand over the free versions. It's they're in terms of the virus definition databases and the level of basic, entry-level protection you do get is far superior to some of the products you pay for. Things like Norton that are paid for are actually year after year after year ranked at some of the worst virus scanners you can buy. And yet people fork out ridiculous amounts of money to have Norton.
Because they're bloated onto their machine when they buy them.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Crapware. Yeah. And they go, oh, my thing's expired. I have to buy it again.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think that, they do. They get scared into doing stuff like that. I've been to so many places, and the first thing I've done is taken Norton's off, and I said, oh, there you go, your computer's 50% faster already.
Norton, or back in the days of VET and things like that, you that's the first thing you did was sell what virus scan they're running, and if it was Norton or if it was VET, you say, the only way I can fix this system is to reformat it. Because they got themselves so embedded in the operating system that you couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, so what's your recommendation, Will, for a free one? AVG or Avast?
AVG or Avast, depending on your system. Lately, on all my systems, I'm actually running Avast. I've found it to be slightly more lightweight than AVG. AVG's got a little bit heavy. The level of protection is the same. Year after year, they're rated at the number one. Both of them basically tie for number one free virus scanner. They're both about the same. Things like Trend Micro, NOD or No Open Doors, Norton, Computer Alliance, whatever one is, there's a heap of them. Don't pay for them. There's no reason to pay for them. All you're doing is supporting a bad product. They don't do anything. If you need the advanced protection of the firewall protection, maybe there is particular things that you specifically want to protect, then just buy AVG or Avast. Their basic protection, starts at $6 a year, depending on what you're buying. So, not what Norton's $90 a year. So there's no comparing it really. And if you've got a lightweight system, such as a little EPC or a little netbook or an older system, you might still be rocking the old 686s and Pentiums. Use Panda. Panda is a online virus scanner that routes the traffic through Panda before it gets to you. So it scans the packets sort of in real time.
Okay. So. All right. Well, I'm going to have to reevaluate what I'm doing in light of this. And I suppose, look, that's not very often you see companies, I suppose, and especially like Microsoft, come out and go, oh yeah, our product's pretty baseline.
Well, I kind of had to because they're rated last every year, so something had to be done about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can keep it on there. It's not going to hurt anything by having it, and if anything, it's going to give you a second level of protection just in case. It's updated fairly regularly. Its definition's not too bad. So it cohabitates nicely with every other virus scanner. So there's no reason to get rid of it. There's nothing wrong with keeping it on there, but don't use it only exclusively.
Okay. Well, I've never had an issue, as I've said before. I've maybe a few, but
Well, but once again, this comes down to operator. I mean, my system that I'm sitting in front of now, I don't have a virus scanner on, not because I think I'm better than everyone else, just purely because I can't be stuffed.
Well, you do that as well.
Hey?
You do think that as well.
Well, yeah, there's that. But basically, I can't be bothered, and this computer gets reformatted every 3 months anyway, so I'm not overly stressed. There's no critical data on here. It's just my work system.
Yeah.
All the other computers, my media center, the data storage center, Son's computer, the laptops, even my phones, I have virus scanners on. But having said that, I've never got a virus on this computer, and I don't have a virus scanner on it. So it comes down to your ability to detect a potential threat before it becomes a problem as well.
All right. Now, Telstra, the good news from Telstra is, speaking of Telstra just before, they're going to slash the pay-as-you-go fees for international mobile data roaming. How much do you reckon it was to roam data per megabyte?
Oh, I know it was ridiculous per meg. I've heard stories, I don't know if it's Telstra, but I've heard stories of, $10 to $15 per meg.
Yeah, it was $15.36 per meg.
That's ridiculous.
Slashed it to $3. Bit of a profit margin there, wasn't there? Hey? So,
I mean, I get that they have to pay the international couriers and blah, 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 carriers, but,
Yeah, but if they slashed it to $3, they'd still be making money on $3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they were just bending people over, weren't they, at $15.36? But the telco said it would significantly expand the data limits for its casual traveller pack data packs. Customers are also... here's a good one. Hang on. Remember that keyboard? Customers are also to be sent usage alerts every time they run through 20 meg of mobile data when roaming. There you go. It's $60. 20 meg, $60.
It's funny because I'm on their 10 gig data pack, and I'm paying, I think it's $50 or $60 a month, and I complain because that's too expensive.
Yeah, what Telstra 10 gig on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Earlier this month, Optus introduced new zoning arrangements and fees for international roaming that sees Optus excess data or data usage charged between 50 cents and $1 a meg. So who's making money where? So Telstra's obviously, if you're over in Japan, Telstra's still buying it off the Japanese. Optus has to be buying it off the Japanese.
Well, Optus is probably exactly.
They probably are Japanese. They're Singaporean anyway.
Even Vodafone's doing the same thing, and they're paying as high. They were as high as $10 a meg. And now they're down to $5 a day. So you can roam basically unlimited per day for $5 on the Vodafone plan.
And it's all to avoid bill shock, which is good. We don't want bill shock, do we? Those poor people. Look at her; she's having a stroke. Poor love.
who uses their existing mobile phone when they go overseas? Who are these people that do it?
Nongs.
I mean, the first thing you would do is go and buy a prepaid local card for wherever you are.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's
You
right.
know, like,
Yeah.
maybe you'll stick your SIM card in at the end of the day and just get any text messages or something that have come in, but you're not going to use your phone.
Look, I've seen my home data usage just increase over the last couple of months to the point where, like, I'm still probably 7-8 days out of my plan change, and I've got to put the brakes on.
What are you on? What plan?
200 gig.
I'm on a terabyte, and we nearly hit that.
Yeah, well, I don't do all the crazy stuff. I just want to do my own little bits and pieces. But I think, because now I've got a phone, the kids have got tablets, they've got computers, wife's got phone, tablet. I think
Media center, the streaming, the uploading, the down. Yeah,
it just all adds up, doesn't it? Just all adds up.
Well, look at that last week's video, for example. I had to, after I encoded that, I uploaded that to YouTube as a private list so Glenn could grab it because it was 6 gig or something for the file, and then Glenn's had to grab that and download it so he could edit it to put it back up on his channel on YouTube. So there's 20 gig gone just there.
Yeah. Oh, look, it disappears. I'll tell you someone else that's disappeared, or 7 people that have disappeared. The previous board members of NBN, they've disappeared. They've resigned. Malcolm Turnbull has confirmed that the long-running rumours. Well, they probably haven't been that long-running, have they?
Like a week and a half.
Yeah, that's right. The good thing about, the government so far is I think they've sort of really tightened up on this 24-hour news cycle. They're not putting nothing out there. You turn the TV on, there's nothing on because, there's no Kevin Rudd out there flicking his hair, or there's no Julia going how good she is and all this sort of stuff. It's just all it's all back to normal. It's all just silence, the way it should be. All those people on the, Sky TV, Richo, and then they've got the Paul Murrays. All they did was talk about politics and bag what happened through the day. They're going to be looking for new jobs pretty soon. There's been nothing to talk about. But anyway, Ziggy Swiftkoski is the new chairman of the NBN Co. Now, Swiftkoski will lead a drastically slimmed down board of 3, which apparently is the minimum that you can have to have a board. So they've really gutted
Because
the.
I think after that
pig.
it becomes a what's the thing? Body corporate, not body corporate. Something else.
Yeah.
Partnership.
Hey, no, it's a company. You can't get any.
If it's less than 3, it's a partnership, isn't it?
Oh yes, no. A partnership can go from I think 2 to 20 or something like that. But then a company. Well, I think company has to have a director, a secretary, maybe 2 directors and a secretary. Maybe that's how it works. I'm not sure. But it's something like that. But anyway, they've been slimmed down to 3, which is a good idea. Like, you don't need 7 people.
Well, it wasn't working with 7. Let's see how well it works with 3.
Well, 7 people, you're going to get 7 different views. That's why things took so long, probably. You got 7 different people trying to get, coming to some sort of unanimous decision or majority decision. The previous.
And I'm unanimous in that.
That's right. Good on you. What's her name? Slocum.
Slocum.
Yeah. Swiftkoski will act in the position also of CEO until a new appointment is made. Now, Swiftkoski comes to the role as a fairly, with it, sort of a character, as far as NBN and telecommunications goes. He served as Telstra CEO from 1999 until 2004. He had previously worked at Optus and Kodak. Now, the new board's first task will be to undertake this 60-day NBN strategic review. That review will set out options for a faster and more cost-effective project roadmap, which will include a plan to revise the technology of the NBN from Labor's fibre to the home model to the Coalition's preferred fibre to the node. Now, look, I don't particularly mind if it goes to the node. I think you can pay if you wish. This is the plan. You can pay if you want to bring it to your home. It'll probably cost you a couple of grand. But look, if it's at the node, Labor's going to get in another, 6-9 years anyway. So now they'll go, I've got a great idea. Let's get rid of the nodes and bring them to the homes. And the thing is, Liberals have already built it to the node. and it'll already be there at the end of your street, and then it'll be just a quick little whoosh, 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 hook up. That'd be good.
Yeah, the problem is, it's great in theory. The problem is if it goes fibre to the node, it's still in charge of the telcos. And they'll go, oh, no, you've still only got cable in your street, and you can still only have your 2 meg upload because that's all cable, which is a load of crap. But they're going to continue to use the party line. So whilst it will free up the back end, it's not going to change anything from our point of view. And the problem is we still have a bottleneck going overseas. We can have, 1 million terabytes a second in Australia. That's not the problem. As soon as you try to go overseas, it dies in the arse because we've got one cable that's running at like 200% capacity.
That's right. Well. Speaking of overseas cables, iiNet signs up for the Hawaiki sub partner cable. How's that one then? Now, Trans-Pacific cable contender Hawaiki said it received a letter of intent from iiNet for capacity on its proposed new link between Australia, New Zealand, and the west coast of the US. So now this link, let me have a look here. It's iiNet is going to take expressed interest in 5 terabits a second. New Zealand provider Voyager has expressed interest in 20 gigabits per second, and the capacity of the cable will be 20 terabytes a second. Wow, okay. So iiNet has taken 5 terabytes a second, and Voyager has only done 20 gigabytes. Well, that's pretty slow then, isn't it? For Voyager, what are they doing?
Probably sufficient for the amount of usage that they have.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess so. But yes.
There's no point buying a heap of capacity if you don't have the, it's just going to be dead capacity laying around that you're going to be paying for.
Oh, I guess so. But yeah, but that's fast, isn't it? Like that, and what's do you know much about how Telstra gets out overseas?
Same thing. At the moment, there's only one cable, and that's well over capacity. They do use satellite and stuff like that when they can, when latency is not a problem, which is why occasionally you'll find if it's like a weekend, for example, and you're playing a game, all of a sudden your ping rates will go up to ridiculous amounts because they've switched up the satellite uplinks to try and cope with the load. They do coexist with satellites occasionally, but yeah, the problem is we're just way over capacity, and this is what everyone's failing to understand with the NBN or with any internet. I mean, I complain because I only get 2 megasecond upload, which is a pain when you're putting 6 gig videos up on YouTube.
Yes.
The problem is I'm only uploading at 500K anyway, because by the time I get to YouTube, it's slowed down that much anyway. So
yeah, it's right.
And this is the thing. There's no point putting a super high speed. I mean, we did a trace route. Remember a couple of weeks back, you and I did a trace route between your place and my place. Now we're physically probably less than 100 k's away, probably 80 k's away in a straight line.
Yep.
We had trace routes pinging Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, Adelaide, back up to Brisbane, back down to
yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Until they get that system sorted out, it's going to be more or less irrelevant the amount of speed you're going to have, because you're not going to be able to use it. But if I want to send a file to you, it doesn't go to you. It goes to Brisbane, goes to Adelaide, goes to Sydney, goes to Melbourne, goes to Canberra, then goes to you.
But it's like, you can do, because I'm on the Telstra Cable Extreme. It's I can ping Brisbane at 9. I get 100. I can down about 115 and up about 2.36. Now, so that's flying. Okay, you think it's flying. Great, I've got great speed, blah, blah, blah. My speed tester's out of this world. Now, you pick a server in San Francisco where, there's a lot of this stuff lives, or Texas or somewhere where a lot of your pages live, and you're back down to 6 down and about half up. You go to the UK, it's worse. It's about 2 down. And I'm sitting here with this 100 meg down to Brisbane. I'm fast in Australia, but as soon as you go over America or England, the backside falls out of it.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
Speaking of speed test, have you seen the new update to the new speed? Whoops, to the new speed test app.
Yeah, what's it do? I've seen it redesigned.
Just updated. It looks really neat. It's much actually fits on the tablets and stuff. It resizes automatically.
Oh yeah.
and it uses less system resources, so it gives you a more accurate reading
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
the actual
okay.
speed. See, I'm testing to LA on my Wi-Fi, so I got 3 meg down,
Yeah, right.
and what's that? 0.5, so 512k
Do
up.
a quick test to like Brizzy. And this will just show that proved and goes to prove that as soon as you want to try and get out of Australia, it's slow as crap anyway. So, you know, but you still need the fast. You still need fast because that just means I suppose you can make make more connections and just get it down anyway. Here we go. Oh yeah, so into Brisbane, Will's. Oh yeah, he's peaking up about 13, 14, 15s
Which,
down.
don't forget, I'm streaming video
And he's on.
and stuff as well, so that's going to affect it.
Yeah, and you're on Wi-Fi, which is limited as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you can see the difference straight away. We've gone, 8 times faster
Yeah. Yeah,
just
that's
by
right.
going to a local server.
Yeah, so I think maybe the federal government should start laying more cables. And,
Well, undersea cables, yeah.
they probably lay enough anyway in their offices.
Hurry up, upload. This is the only thing that still gets me with this is the upload takes forever.
On November 3, YouTube will honour the artists you love. You love. In a celebration with live performances, Lady Gaga, Eminem, Arcade Fire, never heard of them, and more. You choose the nominees every time you like or share their videos on YouTube. Now, starting October 17. Get ready to pick the winners. So you choose the nominees every time you like or share a video on YouTube. Wow. So there you go. Starting October 17th. So it hasn't started yet, but it's coming. So yeah. So if you're into music and you got your little guitar in the background and you got a video up there, get as many people to like it as you can. You're not going to win over your little dude in the back. And
Speaking of updates too, I noticed today that the Google Gmail and Drive and all those apps have been updated again. They look really nice now on the Android phone. They're really sleek and slimline, and they actually make sense now. Like to start with, when you first go to your emails, it's either got a picture of the person who sent it to you if they're in their contacts, or it's just got the first letter of the company email address.
Oh yes, yep, nice.
But they've done things now, like when you actually go into a message, they've got all the header information contained correctly, whereas before you had to dig if you wanted to find who it came from and where and trace it and whatever.
Yep.
Now it all comes up straight up the top.
Okay, cool.
So they've really come a long way with their basic entry-level apps, which is what they needed to do. So they're really starting to look good now.
Now, did you have any more stories before I finish off, Will?
I've got a couple other ones, but you go first, and I'll cull.
I've only got one more. Well, this is because I always like to have a little strange one. Well, I don't know if you've noticed or not. You probably think all my stories are strange, but I like to have a stranger one to finish up with, and I've got a stranger one this week. Icelandic phone app stops you dating close relatives. Now,
we talked about this a couple of months back, but I think it's finally become a reality now.
The app allows you to bump phones together and instantly find out whether or not you are related. Sleeping with a relative is more of an issue in Iceland than most other territories due to the country's small size. Iceland has 320,000 residents compared with, what do we got, 22 million? Yeah. So so apparently your surname is not passed down through the generations as it is with most Western cultures. So instead, your surname is your mother or father's first name with the word son or daughter suffixed. So talk about confusing. Eh? Confuse me or what?
So what's Bjork?
Yeah. So yeah. So here's an example. Yeah. So an example. All that the surname of Bjork Gudmundsdottir tells us about her heritage is that her mother's first name was Gutmund. Gutmund. I don't know. That's too complicated. I can't even read that. It's giving my brain a spin just reading it. So in addition to the already available searchable function where you can search for and find out how you are related to any other Icelander, they've added a birthday calendar to make sure you don't forget your relative's birthday. Eh? Wow. That's awesome.
Oh, dear.
That's awesome. I wish I could get that graphic off the screen.
There's just to show you how on the ball Queensland Police, they're really on the ball with technology and up to date, and there's no way that they could possibly be using old technology. Basically, Queensland runs two categories of dispatch systems. One is 20 years old and called the IMS, which is the Information Management System, and one is 19 years old. That's called the QPS, which doesn't stand for Queensland Police Service. It stands for Queensland Police System. They've decided to update these systems. This is the dispatch system we're talking about. That works for all emergency services, not just police, but I'm picking on them because I can. Now, if I said CAD to you, CAD, what would you think of?
The drawing.
Yeah, computer-aided design.
Yes.
Apparently, the boffins at Queensland Police decided that it stands for computer-aided dispatch.
Right.
So apparently they don't get out much.
No, acronyms are just rife. I suppose they're rife in any business, aren't they? But they seem to be more rife
everywhere else
government.
in the country, the same program's called QCAD, which you think, when you're bringing it to Queensland, is what you would want to call it. But they dropped the Q and they just called it CAD.
Well, why don't they call it NSW CAD?
It's like you take a program that's used Australia-wide and you still screw it up.
What would the Q stand for anyway?
It does say down in the article. It's like
Quick.
Yeah, something like that.
Quick dispatch.
Yeah.
Quick computer-aided dispatch.
I'll have to find it, but yeah,
it doesn't matter.
But so the biggest problem is at the moment the IMS systems I was talking about before, the IMS system and the QPS systems are not compatible with the CAD systems, which is great because all the capital, so Brisbane, has the CAD system.
Great.
And the rest of the state has the IMS systems.
Didn't they learn their lesson with the stupid health things?
Well, apparently the Queensland Police went, hey, that was a great idea. Let's see if we can do the same thing.
Oh, it's only our money. It's not their money.
And basically they're saying that there was a recommendation in the Keller review, the Kelty review, which was the thing when we had the big fires and went through and said, hey, your fire hydrants don't fit because they've got different size adapters to ours. Remember that when all these fire trucks were sent down? I think I sent to Victoria or New South Wales. From all over the country come, and they went, well, you can't actually use our hydrants, guys. They don't fit. We use different size fittings.
Oh dear. It is hopeless, isn't it?
So basically, the recommendation from this review basically said closer integration is needed before 2018.
But who's going to be the ones to give in? I don't know.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? And given that it was only a few months ago that I don't have the story in front of me, but it was only a few months ago when Queensland Police got busted for using the internal police program, COPS or whatever it's called, on all their computers when they're only licensed to have like 20 copies of it.
That's right.
They were sharing it around on micro thumb drives so that everybody could have a copy of this and access the offenders database because Queensland Police were too cheap to fork out and actually buy the program.
I remember that. That's right. Anyway. All right. So I think we should wind up. You're right to do that, Will?
Oh, sorry, I was just reading the bottom of this article and it said, in the meantime, the Queensland Police Service is using a free web-based version of the collaboration software Yammer to allow the officers involved to give feedback to each other. So Queensland Police is using Yammer as their business tool.
The old Yammer, yeah. Yep.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, but that's just hilarious.
All right,
no wonder they're not finding everybody for speeding because they can't get off their ass and do anything constructive.
You can follow us on Twitter at Aussie Tech Heads. You can follow me at Glenn N Goodman. You can follow Will at Mr. Tompkinson. And don't forget our Facebook page at Aussie. Oh, I do that every week, don't I? It is facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads and also the youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads or the webpage at aussietechheads.com.au.
You know what you need to do is have a aussietechheads.com.au/Facebook.
Yeah. Yes.
Redirect. There you
Yes,
go. Done. There's your project for the week.
That'll fix it. And hopefully next week, for those of you who don't know, I did buy a new computer. I haven't put it together yet. Probably sit on the shelves for 6 months. Oh look, it's going to be good. Hopefully it's going to.
Tonight's effort is going to want it. That's for sure.
Hopefully it is going to it's up to date. It's a brand new. What is it? Intel i7 4770
joined the dark side.
K chip, an Asus Z87 Plus motherboard, water cooling. Oh, look out! Look out!
You spent 3 times the money and got half the system. Yeah.
Oh, I hope
It all
not.
started when you bought the iPhone, and it just went downhill from there.
Nah, this thing is supposed to just ramp it. So let's hope that I can do a lot more with it, and stream, and no more vid blaster crashes and all this sort of stuff.
You mean things I don't have a problem with?
Yeah, some of those things. Just like that.
On my AMD system that worked perfectly fine, that's half the price.
Oh, you gotta swap and change, Oh, I was Intel, give AMD a shot.
I have to admit, I know that we're wrapping this up and I shouldn't be talking, but I have to admit that I've basically stuck with Intel for the last, whatever, since they bought out the six. Well, they were the competitor to the 686, and they had the AMD chips back then. And I've pretty much stuck with them, and 95% of the time, it's proven to be the right decision. There has been a couple of times where, maybe not, but for the most part, it's always done me well.
Well, look, I've just had so many crashes. I just thought, well, I want to go to the chip where these things are probably built on, like programmed on. And not that I think that there's probably a difference between it, but obviously I do. I just wanted to just get to the same as what I think, whatever his name is programming his little vid blaster on. It's the most important program of the week, and it's the only one that really fails every week. But anyway, enough of that. All right, that's about it. That's about it. Oh, Will's talking instead of me as me. That's not me in the chat room in the lounge. That's Will. He signed in. He signed in as me.
I'm streaming. I've got to be signed in as you.
All right, so you can join us in the lounge if you want as well at aussietechheads.com.au/lives Thursday night. So we'll see you then, 7:30. Don't forget everything else, the paper, aussietechheads.com.au/paper. I think Will might have even mentioned it last week. That's right. There was tech stories, education stories, business stories, whatever. There's a heap of stories there. Just jam it up on your iPad. And it goes pretty good. It's a good little read sometimes. Yeah, it's great. All right, until then, we should be back next week. There should be maybe 3 of us, and hopefully we might hear from Shane, see how he's going over there in the old US of A, and see if we can. If I do hear from him, I'll ask him to send us a report on I don't know, his travels, his journeys. All right. So thanks, Will. We might see you next week.
Yes, maybe we'll see what happens. See if I'm still alive.
Cool. All right, and we'll see you guys next week too, hopefully. And don't forget, we are also video in iTunes. So standard def video in iTunes, soon to be high def in YouTube. All right, that's just the way we're going to roll. Okay. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.